today we're going to do like Q&A and live trading together. I want to start doing live trading in these sessions for the next little bit. Trading alongside with the group. An hourly here, right? Sorry, 4 hour. This is a 15-minute that broke. The trend work that I would use here, I wouldn't be using too many. So the thing about trends, Gamma, like we can just, so this is kind of what I want to do with these sessions right now. I want to just trade and have people ask open questions to open up conversation about topics that people would be either thinking about or having questions on. Bit more of like a serious deep dive on some of the things that people are struggling with around 31,000. So tell me the base and reach point of this trend. So you have a 1 hourly trend you're asking about from 31,000. So you would be somewhere in here. Assumingly, this would be the one trend that you would potentially use. However, I don't like it, and I wouldn't start by looking at them from the hourly first. I would try to find. This is never going to be the daily here, and the weekly is going to be you're going to be very pressed to find too many daily trends here. You've got this here. Actually, it's good. You do have some daily trends. So you've got like this here. Oh, first off, let's make sure we're on the perp chart before I get screamed at by everybody. Because I know if Nuke is watching, he's going to flip his stuff fast. Okay. Oops. Got some targets coming up in here. Okay, let's start here. Perp chart gang, God. I swear, dude. This isn't going to really be relevant because you do have a trend that's dictated prior. So one thing we do with trends, like I want to make a few clarities on trends. Trends are good, but Nuke actually has it right when he says trends are in a way kind of like they're not useless, right? Okay, because trends act as trigger points to fuel a move. They act as you break a move, you go in the other direction. It starts to have things like distribution, so that's fine. Trends aren't like useless. They're not horrible, but by the end of it, you have so many trends that it's just like, well, what does this do? And then, okay, fine, great, you break. Like, did you really take entry here? Like, if you did, great. You can take trend entries, that's fine. And then what? So it adapts like this, and then like this, and then you have, you know, all these trends everywhere, and then this becomes this one, and that's broken, and this becomes this one, and that's broken, and like they just become cumbersome to your trading overall to have them. Like, they are good to have, but this is why we work high time frame down, because we need only the relevant trends, because all these interior trends, interior ranges are good. They more act as support to continue buying or selling if you are on an interior range, and gives you the allowance to, like, even this daily trend right now, like it. How useful is this? Like, are you gonna buy right here when it breaks, and then it's gonna move up to a target and then move down and back test trend? Like, there's just trend is good. Don't get me wrong, trend is good, but there's a certain part of it where trend just. Its use case is so limited. It's not that trends don't work. It's not that they don't exist. They exist, of course, they work. It's just their use case is so limited. Like, would you have ever tried to buy this trend if this hits? No, you'd be waiting forever, and then you'd create this trend here, and then what? So you would have shorted this trend. Meanwhile, there's a level it's going after, and it's going to deep dive the trend. So how do we get great entry on 100x? Like, maybe for spot and stuff like that, it's okay. But if we're talking about 100x trading, you know, this is pretty tough to justify trends as anything that we should use for entries or exits. Fine, yes, exits fine. Continue to stay in a trade, justification fine. Trends we use as triggers, like, yeah, okay, for example, let's just go to an interior trend. Here you go, trend right here, right? Okay, come on, dude. What is your biggest time frame on this trend? Hourly. Okay, good. We've got hourly, right? I don't believe we're gonna have a 4 hour here. Let's double check. We're working up in time frames. This is cardinal sit, and this is like disgustingly bad. That's fine. Here we go. This, right? Back to the 15. Great. Hourly trend, if you got your entry somewhere in here, hourly trend, like break above polarity here, right? Move up, yada yada, etc. Right? The same old thing. Polarity here, break up. Yeah, okay, fine. Exit your trade if this trend breaks. Fine. Hourly break level. Is this the 4 hour as well? We really need to be targeting the 4 hour. We really need to be targeting the 4 hour because we did on the bottom side of the chart. So this is a bit of a concern. But anyway, we'll talk about that in a moment here. Okay, exit your trade if it hard closes. Fine. Like, it just hard closes and trying to stabilize off something. This, by the looks of it, backside. Or here, maybe whatever broke this move up. Whatever broke this move here. So, inverse, no, it's not that. Well, it would be, but it would just be this, which is all the same thing. That's fine. It's polarity. So, like, okay, break trend, exit on rebuy target. You see what I mean? Like, trend, it's fine for, like, your longer term trades, but yeah. Trends are there are a lot of, okay, if I'm in a trade and this trend breaks, get out. The spot where I use trends, like if I was to look at this, the spot where I use trends is interior. Like this for entry, for example, would be great. This for entry would be like fantastic. Or maybe there's, yeah, this for entry on the 15 would have been fantastic right here. Like enter here, short, hold this. Like really nice scalp trades, right? Like, because this is what you see a lot of. You can even flip the chart. You can just look at this. It's so typical. You have a hold level and you have an interior trend, and they compress against each other until one decision or another is made, right? Like they're great for scalps. Like if you were to be a scalp trader, you would want to use interior trends as your best friend. So if you're a scalp trader, like interior trends, like dude, like interior trends all the way. Pick a spot, like I don't know, like what, you know, pick a spot. Okay, screw it right now. Interior trends all the way. Look, start from the top of this move. What do you have? Okay, so you've only got maybe a 15-minute. You actually looks like you could possibly have a bigger time frame here. Great entry right here. Let's check the other. Yeah, so there's nothing here. You're not gonna have anything on the 4 either then. So possible 5 minutes. But you always want to use your biggest time frame, right? So like, why go down if you have it here? But okay, fine, we can go down. Not as accurate, right? Always biggest time frame. Always biggest time frame. So if you have this trend here, great entry. Great entry on this trend, but it's a scalp trade. That's it. It would be the exact same equivalent as this. Great scalp trades against the range, right? Great scalp trades against the range. Don't use it to hold up the move. Great scalp trades against the range. You've got an interior trend right here. If it holds, it's going to try attempt to break the move. This ends up going up nicely, so it was more of a scalp, more than just a scalp trade, but even just as a scalp trade, like interior trend to target. So even if you were just going like this, target, what are the percentages? 28, nice, dude, really nice scalp target, 28 and 40. Doesn't hit its target, moves back, right? So if you took this as your exit, you take this as your next exit here, right? You get another 25% off the trend touch. Okay, that's already tested. So at this point, you would be more looking for this interior to interior like that. So now you're kind of like this, right? Interior to interior as exit. There it is right there. Target gets hit, perfect. Target pulls back, perfect. You see what I mean? Like they can become beautiful scalp targets, these trends, these interior trends. So interior trends should be forever labeled for people as scalp targets. They're really good. So if you're scalping constantly, make interior trends your best friend, and don't overtrade them. Don't overvalue them for what they are. If you stayed in this trade, awesome, dude. Like, yeah, great. You made a really nice a payout on this. That's great. If you stayed in it, don't fall in love with interior trends. They break as fast as they create, right? Like that should be common sense in a way. So interior trends, like look how many nice little trades are in here. Like target to target to target to target to target. It's perfect, right? So interior trends are, you know, they're good for that, but don't fall in love with them as some kind of, you know, super target. Yeah, don't fall in love with them as some kind of super target. I'm gonna catch up on chat here for a second. Nothing really in chat. Okay, good. Yeah, just what Nuke said about the re-entry. Yep, that's it. That's really it for trends. You know, you don't even expect something like this to hold. This is not even like really an interior trend anymore. This is getting to be more of like broken target, go after the origin here. Yep. This is getting to be this trade, which is the inverse 5, which you can just say here can reverse this now at this point. You don't even really test this because you know what? You already have this as the inverse anyway. So now you need to look to create the higher time frame. So we can talk about that too. Whenever you guys have targets on your charts, you want to offset into kind of like a +1 scenario. So offsetting is something I've talked about in the past. We're going to talk about it again today. You want to offset these things to a +1 scenario. +1 meaning if it happens on the 5, look for the 15. If it's happening on the 15, look for the 1 hour. So when we look at this move and we're sitting here and saying, okay, like 15-minute here, what else is targeted? Hourly backside's not targeted. Okay, so this can be your like +1 scenario. This can be your +1, right? And let's roll it right from the top. 4 hour. Okay, first off, big target here, 4 hour. Can you get over this and reject these targets? That would be my first question. Like, if I can target this, can I get over it and target one of these? If I do, is there enough interior components to support this? So this is going to be a big part of assessing how to play a trade. Okay. Offsetting is kind of straight out of BFE2, so just keep in mind, I talk about this sometimes, but not a lot. So you got 4 hour here, right? If you are going above this, you need to assess how you get there, because this is going to tell you if there's interior pieces that can hold this up. So for example, you get to here, you have a little pullback, you create all this kind of jazz right here, you then get over it up top, you're likely going to have some like 15-minute hold level here, right? Like, what do you have that supports the gaining of this? Because these targets are great, they can reject it and pull it straight down, but what do you have that supports it? So let's go take a look. Well, we've got a 1 hour that supports it right here. Oopsies. The 1 hour is not going to be enough. You want to create some kind of hierarchy in this chart, like something more than just, you know, maybe like target this, pull back, hit it again, pull back, and then break over the 4 hour. You're good, because this is going to be like a pretty huge important level in the future, right? Like that's going to be a origin that broke the move, right? So like target, pull back, target, pull back, go over top, reject this. Oopsies. Oh no, I have to redraw it. Target, pull back, target, pull back, hit this, go over the top, come back down, have some kind of like thing that supports this. This is the 4, so maybe you can create an origin on it as well here. No, this is the 4, sorry. So this is just like the local 15. My two colors are really close to each other. Like this 4 hour yellow and this spring green is really close to each other. So again, hit this, pull back, hit it again, pull back, do some kind of like whatever, it doesn't matter where you go. Once you get over top of this 4, this is the kind of setup you're looking for. This is the kind of setup you're looking for. You could probably actually see this recently. Should be a nice little pullback off this now. That's what you'd be looking for, because you want to create something that establishes the larger move up. Here's the same thing just happened right here. Look. Same thing happened literally right here. Where was the origin in here? That's what you ask yourself. Where was the origin? And that's what can support that move up, right? So if you were to have a 4 hour level that you could theoretically gain, like this one here, if you were to have this, these are the setups that you're looking for. So you've got right here, but I would like to find something else. So what did this target? So this targeted that. So that hits the backside, goes above it, targets this. So what does it create from there on? You've got something like this right here. Yeah, I like this. Target that and then create the origin. Well, this is a good origin, and it can be considered more true, if that's proper English. More true, truer, the truest. I do like this because it hits the level and then creates a valley to attack, to not break after the level is tested. So this is that same type of setup you're looking for. So if there were a 4 hour level, which there is, which is this one, which we're just going to make this line thicker to denote it a bit. This is what you would be looking for, right? Like you want to gain this 4 hour level, but have something that can support the gaining of the 4 hour level, whether it's below it or above it, something that it can deep dive to or go after when it's done. So let's just kind of look at how this plays out here. Hits that 4 hour level, good. 4 hour level is a target. It's this, pulls back, hits that inverse again, that's fine. hits that 4-hour level. Now you want to get over this, right? Like it's something to support the 4-hour move. There it is right there. It's something to support that 4-hour move. Hit the 4-hour and get over top of this. Now, whether it's below it or above it, it doesn't really matter. You could alternatively say this same thing right here, but I think this is more the right level, this dotted one here. So we can just delete this. Yeah, that was a good one. I was right about that right there. So this is the moment that supports the 4. So whenever you guys are looking for setup, guys and girls, so whenever you're looking for these setups, you want to kind of piggyback them off of having those other moments. Like you don't, what you don't want to do, let's just hit play here. I wonder if, yeah, look at this, it goes in, back targets that nicely too. What you don't want to do, okay, now let's go to the current move right now. What you don't want to do is blast right through this, gain the 4, test this. There's nothing to hold the move up, right? Like that's where you're going to see like, oh, blast through this 4, go up, hit something here, great, and then there's nothing to hold it up, and then all you end up doing is gaining the 4-hour wherever, like maybe it's right here. So then you just end up gaining this because there's nothing to hold it up. So it's almost like you have kind of two steps in play, right? Like if we go to the 4, okay, so I was a little off where that 4-hour was. It was actually right there. If we go, which is fine, that doesn't matter, it's still a pretty good guess. If we go here, like you don't want to. Okay, good, that one's thick. Let's make this one thick as well, because these are this is kind of like your bind, right? These are the two kind of 4-hour levels that you're under the constraints of. You do have this one too, but that's kind of over and done with already. So this is the inverse 4, and that's this 4. Like what you don't want to do is you don't want to kind of go straight up and attack these levels, because if you were to go straight up and attack this, if there's nothing to hold the gain of this 4-hour, it is going to attempt to take this. And then if it does, the move is gone. So you have to kind of think of this as like 2 steps in the future in a way. So right now we're trying to gain this 4, right? And in doing so, what we need to do is we need to kind of create some kind of architecture here. So this becomes like the perfect spot to start creating a setup for the future. This becomes that, oh, look at this origin level. So you do want to take this short as a scalp. You do want to take the pullback maybe to here and hope it holds to this. Let it play to this, take that scalp there. Hopefully it breaks up and over. And then you don't need to gain this 4-hour, because by holding this, you're going to go up and naturally gain that 4-hour, right? So that becomes, this spot becomes critical. It becomes so important for the trade. So understanding these deeper levels, this, like I've been saying that word a lot lately, like, oh, look at the setup, look at the setup. So understanding these deeper levels, it is crucial to, if you are going to like quote unquote understand these deeper levels, it is critical to understand how they develop as well in the moment. So it's that interior architecture inside of this that will develop that move. So a 15-minute breakout is stronger support than a standard 1-hour. So no, I wouldn't compare them as like a linear relationship. Like, okay, a 15-minute breakout is stronger than a standard 1-hour level. So you're talking about an origin level. It's more about understanding the setup. So we can talk about that a bit. Hold on one second, I'm just getting a drink. Okay, so understanding this is like you're creating kind of like a linear relationship, or like a bi-directional relationship where it only has one of two instances. What you need to think more about is every move is going to have a different kind of point of polarity. There's almost like a natural occurrence. So like if you were creating 4-hour levels, for example, there would like almost at a minimum have to be 15-minute levels, right? Like there would almost at a minimum have to be a 15, like here, for example, if you have enough time to create a 4-hour level, to lose one and then to gain it and to start moving up, that's minimum 8 hours. 8 hours of candles. So we'll just start right here, 22. So that should be to 6 in the morning, right? That's right here. And like this is a pretty good span of 15-minute candles. So you have to realize almost by default, you're going to have, don't look at it as a linear relationship, but realize it is. I guess that kind of is confusing. Just by the nature of how the time frames work, if you have 2 or 3 4-hour candles, which is what you would need in order to create, like, I don't know, look at any candle set anywhere, like a move down, an attempt to gain it, and then a move up past it. That's 12 hours, right? Like there is just like a natural relationship between all time frames. We're almost like, oh, the 15-minute becomes important to the 4-hour, because the 15, like, you understand that a 15-minute candle, if you're looking at 4 hours, you can typically find a 15-minute origin, right? And if the candles are a certain size, bigger or smaller, like if they were much larger in size, you, like, for example, these ones, if they're much larger in size, you're typically going to find like more of a 5-minute origin. So let's go here. This is going to be more of a 15-minute, just because of like 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4, like five candles. It's going to be more of a 15-minute origin, right? Right here, right? Just because of the nature of how time works, right? Like if you think about it, if there were only 3 candles, it would more likely be a 5-minute level. If there were 10 candles, it could possibly be an hourly level. So it's not that I would look at it in such a multi-directional way, like, or I guess maybe I would look at it more multi-directional. No, it would be less multi-directional. I wouldn't look at it more, you know, the 15-minute is stronger than the 1 hour. It's kind of more about the size and how many candles there are, in a way, just because of the nature of how they can form and exist. Hopefully that makes sense. Like right now, 1 2 3 4, like kind of 4 candles in this move. It couldn't really be like, could it be an hourly? No, it can't really be an hourly, right? Just because there's just not enough candles there. Could it be a 15? Yeah, it could be a 15. So there, like, in a way, there's a direct relationship between these time frames, but it's not direct to say like, oh, 1 hour is stronger than a 15. I guess is what I'm trying to get at. You're not kind of pinning a point system against each other. Rather, you're using a +1 -1 kind of system, because that's just, for example, if you are having a 15-minute origin here, you look to go to the 1 hour level next. Like, you'd want to gain this, right? Because that's kind of where we were at with this whole entire thing. Lose this, you kind of want to gain this. So if you start ending up creating, I don't know, like maybe like some kind of like interior wedge pattern against this, like 15-minute interior trend, we need to get rid of some of these lines. What was this one here? Backside 5, maybe? I remember why I marked this one. Why did I mark this one for? Maybe it was polarity. Not sure why I marked this, but I marked this one. It shouldn't be this one. I think I just moved it from another candle set. I think that was maybe like the 4 hour, and I moved it. Yeah, that was the 4 hour that I moved. That's fine. You don't really need that. You'd be more like here, like whatever's in here. Possibly this. No, it can't be that. It could be this. It could be that, and it's laddering this now. So if you're targeting this 15, you want to more be gaining this hourly, or what would be more important, rejecting this hourly right here, right? So if you're if you're hitting this, the more important part of it would be rejecting the gain of this. So if you're hitting this 15-minute, this move would break if you started to gain that hourly. So we can delete this one. So this, if you're hitting this, this would pretty much be what breaks that 15-minute down. Also what can hold it up. So you have to look at things in a +1 time frame, right? So if you were on the 4 hour, for example, here, right? If you were to go and target this, you would need to go and look inside and say, okay, what can I not lose? And that becomes support of the move. Does that make sense? It's a little more advanced than what we usually talk about, but hopefully that, like, if this 15-minute origin is going to break, it can't stop at the hourly. It has to gain the hourly. Its job is to go +1, which is the hourly. So that's why you see this stopping here, because right now its +1 is this hourly. So hit that, reject and fall down, inverse level for the future. So you can look at, like, you can look at the rejection as the target for the next trade, because that would be the logical flow of the move, right? You hit the 15. Next, what would it try to do? It would try to gain the hourly. This is the hourly here. So that's where you'd exit your short or open your long. And then it's polarized against that move, because that's where it's saying like, okay, well, if it gains that, this 15-minute origin won't exist. right? If it can hold this 15-minute origin will attack again, and now it can maybe gain an hourly that it creates somewhere inside of there. It does make a bit of sense. It's like since, hold on, I'm gonna put music back on here 1 second. It's like since n plus 1 time frame is built upon n time frame, if n time frame has not developed anything to really support n plus 1 time frame is like a false gain. That's a very trailed out way of looking at it. So the trades develops the setup are good scalps. Yeah, that's a very trailed way, but yes. But well, okay, let me make sure I understand this. N plus 1 time frame, so that would in our case be the hourly off the origin 15. So n plus 1 is the hourly inverse, is built upon n time frame, which is 15. If time frame n has not been developed, if n time frame has not been developed, how can n time frame if n plus 1? Since n plus 1 time frame is built upon n, assuming that n is created, if n time frame has not been developed, I don't know what that means, what you're saying by developed. If n is in existence, if n plus 1 is true, that means n exists. If n exists, it cannot be not developed. Anything to really support n plus 1 time frame is like a false gain. That's a very trailed out way of looking at it. But I think I understand what you're saying. Does everybody understand why this hourly would be target? Let's start with that. Does everybody understand why this would be the target of the move? Like, this is the trade. This is the trade. This is always the trade. It's the 15-minute origin level, which can support the gaining of this 4 hour, because you can gain that 4 hour, reject your target, and hold here while gaining the 4 hour over time, right? This is a must understand. 4 hour, we need to gain that. That's going to be a huge target in order to support the gaining. So if this wasn't here, we don't really want to gain this. Like, you gain this level, you need to go straight through all the other levels. So if this didn't exist, you need to go through these. These need to not get in your way. If this didn't exist, because this exists, it's okay that we stop at these levels, because ultimately we will support off of this and hold up and true throughout this 4 hour, creating it as a reverse in the future. Well, it wouldn't even be a reverse yet, but it would look like it because you'd be looking through candles to find the time frame. If this wasn't here, we need to blow through these, or there has to be some type of other developed architecture. It's just like this move down here. It's just like wherever that move was that we looked at. What is it, right here? It's just like this here. In order to gain this 4 hour, oopsies. Dotted line, hello. Okay, it's just like this right here. We can get rid of all this stuff to clear it up a bit. It's just like this right here. With this 4 hour, you can see how it's wedged against its polarity. Like, you can literally see it. I gotta change this spring green color. This is too crazy. You can see it's wedged between, hey, I just gained a 4 hour against the origin. Like, you can see where it's wedged against that. When you gain this origin, you gain this level. Just by default, because now you're going to bounce off this and the 4 hours protected. You could even deep dive this and go to the 4 hour. It would be the same thing if you developed a level right here. If you developed the architecture here, but you didn't in this case, it was here, right? It would be the same thing. If you develop this architecture, you really want that to be created as well, right? Like, you can see where the polarity of this move is. It's super straightforward. And then if you really wanted to, you could just say like, well, where's the combo level in here? Like, where's the hourly combo? Oh, there's no hourly. That's fine. So you combo from hourly here to 15. Okay, so 15-minute there, right? You've got this backside here, which holds it 15-minute here. 5 here. Tested. Possibly right here. Backside. I don't even know if it gets down there. It doesn't. That's fine. It just like misses the trade. But like you can see that. You can see it. You can see it. There's no, it's like you can see it. I think so. You're just buying the creation of thing that will support you to gain the higher time frame. Then the hourly needs to hit because the 15-minute hourly's job is not down to gain the 4. So what's next in this trade? That's your next question. What's next? So I want to point something out. If we gained, okay. Maybe I should leave this open for people to answer. I'm gonna create a scenario and then we're gonna see. Also, I would like to do some trading here, so we'll see. We might do some trading together, but I would like to start doing like trading sessions so I can talk about the stuff while we're trading. So let's do this. Let's say we gained this 4 hour right here. This is the 4 hour. What's next? Right? Like, yeah, okay, fine. You hit these levels, you hit these levels. Let's say you're gonna come down and test the 4 hour or this. What would you be looking for? Like, just talk to me about this. First off, where's the polarity in this move? Where's the polarity against this 4 hour level? Let's start with that question. Where's the polarity against this 4 hour level? We're in a point in time right now where we're asking this question past gaining this moment. Like, we've gone up and we've tested some of the stuff here and we're testing this and we're testing this. What's the polarity of this move? Again, if we gain this 4 hour, because identifying the proper polarized spots in these trades is critical. $15-minute origin if created. Good job. Good job, choose. So I want to point something out, and this is very specific. Notice how we had the 4 hour right here. Jesus Christ, this thing keeps changing colors on me. I'm going to lose my mind. Notice how we had the 4 hour here and the origin above it to gain the move. 4 hour here, origin below it to lose the move. It's literally the exact same setup. Identical to the T. 4 hour, gain it, origin is polarity. 4 hour, lose it, origin is polarity. Gain this 15-minute origin, boost this way. Lose this 15-minute origin, boost this way. So this is polarity against that 4 hour. Just like this was polarity against this 4 hour. It's identical in setup. But it's identical because it's like a repeated pattern that happens constantly nonstop. So understanding how these moves work, form, and develop allows you, and you can see it right now. You can see even the polarity right now on this hourly. This hourly, I wouldn't call this hourly polarity. I would call this target. I would call this, oopsies. I would call this hourly target. I would not say, oh, polarity. I would call this target. I would call this target from that. So this is like this right here. If you lose this, maybe you end up losing the move, but I would just call this target. I wouldn't call it polarity. Polarity is a much different meaning. Polarity is like trend break, right? Trends are polarity. This is the perfect candidate for a short here to see if where we can gain this level. And this also hourly also becomes a perfect candidate for a long. How do you mark the origin? Do you have like a specific example? No, I can walk through it. Well, for the previous example, there was one that looked better, but you marked a different value. I think you said because the value was created after we tested. Yeah, that's an experience thing. That's an experience thing, and there's other things going on here. So first off, this can't really be polarity because of where the 4 hour is, and I recognize that very quickly, that you are already gonna have breaks in here in the move. Like this is so part of this is understanding that there's like interior trends here that will break, and you cannot break an interior trend to target this. You can't for other reasons. With the targeting of this level and identifying the polarity, right? Like you can see that this is, I think there was an hourly level here actually. Yeah, it was an hourly level also here, but that's fine. So we can combo it to this. There's no harm in that. The price is literally like right on top of each other, which gives you kind of like this interior trend like this. Like once you break this trend and you've already gone up over that target, like you can't break. Like look at where the price is, right? Like if you were to zoom into this, it's like imagine you're right here and you're like, oh, we're gonna break this trend and reject this. No, this trend was created post touching this inverse, so polarity gets created on that level. So it touches this, creates trend, and gives polarity to this test. So this is a bit more advanced because it's a little outside of the scope of what we typically do. But I move my origin here from this spot because if we've already tested the part of the move that's going to hold us down, and this is very clear as day. Like this is like a classic deep dive, deeper level, reverse the 15 test. Like this is your very like literal atypical. Dude, where is this move? Okay, this is very much. Let's use the replayer tool. Okay, so it won't happen again. This is very much like your standard, like, okay, hit one level, reverse the next. Like, okay, man, that's very straightforward. Because of that, I want to see this break here because this is representing, okay, if we break this trend, like imagine being right here, pre-test, and then say like, oh, yeah, we're gonna break this trend and move up like 4%, or like trend break this point to here. What, like I don't even know how much that is. Like it's almost unmeasurable. Like from here to here, what is that? 12%. That's not realistic. Because we test the hourly, we reverse this. That's why I move it to here, and that's also why I don't move it to here, because it's not just about finding the highest origin, it's about finding the right origin, which should be a pretty big wake-up call here, because some people would mark it here saying like, okay, that's post-test origin level highest. Some people would mark it here. I marked it here blindly, and you know, that was like literally the level, quote unquote. So this is more about test the level to create all your architecture, find the origin, pass the level test. I just don't want people to kind of get into this habit of just starting to mark out these origins like this, because there's a certain point to this where this made sense for certain reasons. So I don't want people to just be like, oh, if you tested there, this is the origin. That would be more like a backside in this case, which would actually just be derived from here. So this actually is not really not that bad of a rebuy spot. Although we're not there now. Do you see what I mean? Like there's a reason why I specifically use this one blindly, and it was and ends up being like perfect polarity, like to the T perfect polarity. It's not about finding the origin level here. This was more about understanding polarity against the move. As to where this is the origin, yes, correct, true. This is more of polarity in a sense. So I just be careful, because that's something that, you know, we haven't really gone over, but I hope you follow the logic flow and understand why I picked this level. You know, it's not like I marked everything. I said, well, this is polarity, and then because it has to be. There's no option for it to not be, and then it is. It's perfect, right? So just be mindful. I think is what I should, like, what I would like to say. There's just be mindful that if you are going to mark things like post-test like that, you have to understand why you're doing it, because anybody can mark any candles, and it's just like, well, that doesn't really give you the longevity that you're looking for. Is the reason the 1 hour is target because to gain the 4, you have to hold. Okay, wait, let me, is the reason the 1 hour is target because to gain the 4, you have to hold the architecture on the 1 hour. And then the 15 is polarity because, no, the reason the 1 hour is, the reason the 1 hour is target is because you're trying to go plus, like, what is this trying to gain? This 15-minute level is trying to gain what? Its polarity would be, like, if you go back to when this session first started, we were right here. So this 15-minute level, like, this is, so we'll walk through this. Remember, we were roughly right here when we started this. Like, we were roughly kind of like right here, and I was talking about trend break right at 7:15, and I said this is target, right? Now what's going to develop here is like this. It's going to test this in order to create an origin, right? For this 4 hour to have polarity, right? So this is the setup. It's going to gain this 4 hours. So that's identifying this as target number 1. So that's identifying this as the first target. So in order for this 4 hour to be in succession, so if we want Bitcoin to move up, the 4 hour has to get gain. And if we want the 4 hour to gain, ideally, if we want to move up past these targets up here, we want to create something that can have polarity to support it. So if you're starting to think like 4 and 5 steps down the rabbit hole and you're starting to chess match inside your brain, it's like, okay, we want to gain the 4 hour, right? With that 4 hour, before that happens, we want to create a polarized moment. So if we were to enter on this 1 hour, this would be our stop loss. So this is kind of the trail you are creating, right? So in order to gain this 4 hour, we don't want to go straight up, because if we go straight up, we're going to hit one of these levels and we're going to go straight down because there's nothing to support that. So rewind back to the beginning of the session. This becomes target if we want to move up. Okay, step 1 is done. Now, if we reject this 15-minute level, where will target be for this rejection? So we test this. It will try to break what? We want to go +1 in this scenario. We want to go +1 and say it will try to break the hourly, and that will be polarity for it. Like that will be where the move is kind of polarized again. So like Q of session, 4 hour here, gain that by hitting the 15, create it as an origin. 15 has to go and target its hourly in order to hold this move. If it holds its move, like that's its target. This 15 origin is going to target this to break down. If it can't break down, it will hold it up, target this again. If you target that, you can go over the 4 hour. Once you go over the 4 hour, you can hold this that's polarized against the 4 hour level. This is very much a lot of stuff we have never talked about. So hopefully that kind of just trail of logic makes sense. So then when we walk through the move, we can see why this would be target after you hit this. So after you hit this, if you can't gain the 1 hour, it will try to attempt to create the origin to support the 4. So you're really down like a pretty deep rabbit hole here. So there's the 4, there's that touch right there, right? Now you need to hit this hourly. There's that hourly test. You need to now create hold levels off this hourly test in order to verify that this hourly test will hold the move, right? Back test trend, that's fine. And now you're creating that architecture here, which is that 5-minute retest, re-entry, confirmed move up. Now you need to gain this in order to create support for the 4 hour so that when the 4 hour rejects, this can be its polarity. Because remember, 4 hour, origin polarity, right? Origin polarity, 4 hour. Polarity, 4 hour, right? Same, literally the same setup. So again, this is just a lot of stuff we haven't talked about, but you know, walking through this move, that's how I would play it. Again, it's really complex, but it's the way the move works and why it does. So I just hope people follow the logic flow, because that's a part of understanding this stuff, is not always having your perfect direct answer. It's about marking it on the charts, looking at it and understanding the flow of the way these charts work, right? That's why when you asked earlier if it was like, oh, the 4 hour has the 1 hour, like specific static, like a bidirectional relationship between the 1 hour to the 15. While these things are true, you can't tunnel vision it like that. You can't just have this sheet that says, because how many candles are there will affect what n+1 is in Nuke scenario. Like he says n+1 equals this. Well, n+1 can change best depending on how many 4 hour candles there are. N+1 could be a 5-minute level. The +1 could be a 15-minute level. Like, this depends. I always try to stress that on people. Depends on the architecture of the chart. You have to be able to go in here and understand the flow of logic more than understanding what +1 equals. +1 equals is variable. Flow of logic is going to give you what your +1 actually is, not, you know, oh, +1 is X because of this time frame. No, the logic flow reveals what that +1 is, because that +1 can change, but that doesn't mean there's not a relationship between, okay, here's a 15-minute origin, it needs to target the hourly, because it's not a nuke's +1. I'm gonna say next time frame instead of +1, because now +1 is becoming confusing as it's two terms. That's its next time frame. +1 will reveal based on what the candles are showing you and the flow of the logic. Does that, I know this is a lot to kind of, I'm just gonna shut up and let people talk. But I hope people understand why this 15-minute origin has to target this hourly right here, and what that will create when this rejects against this 4-hour. It's trying to gain to create this as polarity. I just want people to follow the logic flow, because this isn't a +1 scenario right here, this level. This is a sense of logic. This is a sense of logic flow to understand. And that's why it was so important for this move. 4-hour, polarized moment, sense of logic flow, origin. Origin didn't really matter here. One of the reasons it didn't matter was because the inverse is compressing it against kind of an inner range. So if you were to almost delete this entire part of the chart, it doesn't exist in a way, because you have inverse levels being hit. Like, you have an origin like right here created. So you have your origin set up right here. Fine. You want your origin, you can find it here. Like, that's perfectly fine. You have your origin right there. Look, clear as day. Origin, 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 origin. Go gain it. Awesome. Your origin's here. You're compressing against inverse levels. Inverse levels are being hit. Polarity interior to that inverse level being hit. This is a sense of logic right here. 4 hours created. This is polarity to break that move and support the 4-hour. So you gain this 4-hour. Once you gain this, the 4 hours confirmed. Otherwise, this would have compressed the move down and held this. Like, if you never got to this point here, right? If you were interior like this and this held the move down, that's almost pretty much the breaking point, right? If this holds the move down, this 4 hours in complete failure and you're just down here somewhere. So understanding the flow in which these charts work is like critical. It's critical because, like, again, if you understand it, look how perfectly we called this thing out. Like, literally calling this thing like it's the crystal ball right now, which gives you perfect trades, which makes it so that you're reducing risk in trading. Okay, target being hit a second time. Let's catch up on chat and then we'll look at this trade. Hopefully this helps people, but we're gonna look at this. Okay. There's a lot of chat here, so I'm gonna just read up. Dude says love it. Dax says this is so helpful. We are always creating and breaking something in every moment, and it can make it hard to know what to use. This gives clarity for sure. Yeah, understanding the flow of how these charts work is critical, right? Like right now we are developing exactly what we wanted to. Like it's pretty much one-to-one exactly what we want to see. Makes a ton of sense though. I'm glad you're talking more about this because personally I've been really focusing on understanding what testing X means target Y so I can take more trades. Better have jumbled this specific idea to my head. This clears up a good bit. Well, and the important thing about this is that understanding like these are targets. Like this is your trade. Like that 30% was your trade. You may have gotten lucky and got this trend and go here for 40, but these are your trades right now. Like those are the trades, right? Like those are the trades. This to this, this to this. Like this is exactly what we want to create and see. It really helps if you were to take, like immediately what comes to mind is Inuke getting in a trade on this origin level and not knowing, because he's really good at taking these levels. So immediately what comes to mind is Inuke taking these origin levels and then not understanding where proper exit is. So this immediately is what comes to mind. And the next thing here that immediately comes to mind is let's create this to gain this origin, right? Like let's create the 15 hold because we already have a 5. Let's create a 15. So if we can in 4 minutes, like continue to hold this move, it won't take much to now gain this, especially since we're creating that 15. And you know, all we have to do is hold a little bit here. But immediately what comes to mind, like I said, is Inuke taking an origin level, or anybody who takes origin levels, but just because we watch Inuke all the time on stream, taking origin level and not really understanding where target exit is. And more so than that, it's like, it's not about understanding where target exit is, it's about having clarity in the trade. Because if it hits and you don't get out because you're just waiting, it's like, okay, well, that's not really going to help anybody. And if it doesn't hit, it means you do have to get out of the trade. Like if you laddered above that hourly, it means you do have to get out of the trade because it might not create an origin at all and it might just move straight up. It's tough but good. I feel like I get into this rut of saying simple because you hit the 4 as target the daily, but I guess it has to depend on the moment. And like you said, sometimes a +1 moment doesn't exist. You know, the thing is that you can easily gain a 4 hour and just say, oh my god, we gained a 4 hour, let's rebuy the back test. But what about everything that happens before? You're just sitting there then with a blank slate, like never taking any trades because you're waiting for these perfect develop moments. But the perfect develop moment is right in front of your eyes. You just have to know how to see it. So gaining this 4 hour, like if you get above it, it would be the same thing right now, and just saying like, oh man, I wish we could test this 4 hour level down here. Wouldn't that be amazing? We'll just go test this 4 hour level, and well, what about all the moments between? Like, how long are you willing to wait for a level to be hit? You know, how long are you willing to wait for that level? Because it's a long time. What are the edge cases? Well, if you don't target the 4 hour on top and you target the 1 hour, it means you're likely breaking down. The run up might not be done. It might target the 4 hour again and create the 1 hour origin to hold off the 4 hour. So it could be a couple different things happening. It might target the 4 hour up top because it targeted the 4 hour down low, right? Like this is the hourly here and it laddered off of this hourly while targeting this. Well, the higher time frame shows you that this 4 hours targeted, this one's not. So does it target this in the future while reversing this as the origin? If it does that, then this origin is polarizing this 4 hour. If it just simply never goes back to test this 4 hour, it's likely breaking the bottom of this move. How and why do 1 minute levels ever get targeted? Because it goes after the deepest part of the higher time frame, right? Like it'll go after the deepest part. Just because it targets a 1 minute level, it's still, like you can target a 1 minute level and still hold a 4 hour time frame, right? Extreme. Okay, wait, let me read the rest of this comment. When we would bypass this idea of being inside a back and forth of a +1 -1 and end up all the way at a 1 minute level. Well, that's a different part of the move, right? 1 minute level could mean that the move is breaking. I don't think you can sit there and say like, oh, what if we target this? Yeah, he might. That means this architecture doesn't exist. Anything can happen on the charts. You can always target anything. Understanding what gets targeted and what that means, though, is pretty important. Almost every range is its own reactive state. Yep. What takes precedence? Time frames. That's why we move time frame down. Did you use the term offsetting in a sentence while talking about the move? Clarify what you mean by it exactly. Offsetting as in you're offsetting a time frame. Is that what you like? In a sentence while talking about a move. Okay. This origin will get offset if you gain this hourly level, therefore nullifying it. that point, if I had to make a sentence further, at that point, this would act as an inverse, would change to here, but the gaining of this backside would take precedence over the creation of over the gain of this origin. So this wouldn't really be used because it's offset against this. Hopefully that helps. Hey, where'd our level go? Right now you're here. See how this has already been tested? Now you're just right here while you're hitting this, trying to gain this move. It makes sense to me because it's like there are no more events that can happen between those two time frames. You have the largest event pushing you down versus the largest event which will hold you up. Since there is only ever one polarity, which one breaks it flips. Exactly. 100% correct, Baigan. 100% correct. Would have been a nice little easy trade. So where does the next trade exist? What could happen next in this move? I'll hold up this backside. The ladder to the backside, but I don't really like it. Can trend ever be target here? If this holds, if this doesn't hold, this would be your kind of one of your final entries. To ladder against this, but I don't love it. Much rather see this thing hold here if I was taking a long, but I'm not in the long, so I guess I do want to see it break down. I just think this was entry. It's hourly. Reject this 15. That would be possible. Reject 15, the target trend. I don't think I would take that trade though. I don't think I would short this to here. That doesn't really, that seems like a lot of risk for 30% when it can easily go target this again. Like could go negative 13 to get plus 35. It doesn't seem like a smart trade. I don't like this as a short. I just don't think the risk is worth it. I like the 4 hour as a short. Gain polarity. Hit the 4 hour, reject. I like this as a short. But if we hold this, I would get the hell out. Or even if we hold the backside of that, I would get out because it's all within the same. Like short this. If this holds, get out. If this holds, get out. You might even want to just go a little bit over this right here. I don't really think that makes sense. I think you just go straight for the 4 here. Because you have polarity defined already, you're going to see if this can actually gain by hitting this. Maybe the best trade is right here now. You can't really reverse the move too much anymore. You can pretty much just hold it and attack straight up. So re-entry here. At this point, if you're trying to short this, what's the risk? 40%? It's not bad. I would almost rather wait for the 4. It's going to happen soon here. Is there anything higher in this range? Not really. I don't think I would have entered on this 1. 5, yes. That 1, no. But I do think you can take entry on that. You might not even get re-entry on this. It might not even come down. Are there any interior trends you can target? You can check that. Well, there never is going to be an hourly. I don't even know I went to the hourly. No, you don't really want to be using this either. We never use this one because, as you can see, it's just going to break. There's no point. Here to here. There's no point to use it. So you use one of these two. Without moving through time frames, I'm going to assume it's this one, but no, it's not. Okay, well, good thing I checked time frames. So can you take... Can't really take that down there, can you? You just straight up go for the 5. The 5 isn't really doing too much here. Go for the backside. Yeah, I would go for this backside because it can hold the interior range, and that 5 minutes not necessarily gonna hold. That's where I'd go. Like, I understand there's 5 minute, but I would just go for this trend, which is this right here at the same point. Can this 1 minute be targeted? Not really. You don't really have anything there either, right? Like, there's nothing here. But could you hit this? That's a little bit of a stretch. So you are playing off of this. Oops. Yeah, no, I wouldn't do this either. Hourly, hold the hourly. Ladder that off this. Yeah, see? I don't really like that. I like this. And if it holds, you're in a good spot. It's also close to a... where is that? There's like a 5-minute local creation close to it as well right here. So it's a pretty... It becomes a pretty decent level. Right? Like, it becomes a pretty decent level just a little bit past that. Like, it kind of covers a range. 1 minute. Oh, hopefully that doesn't hold. Come on. There it is. Oh, I think it's not really holding that well. Is it really going to go for that hourly again? Wow. Surprising. Went for the hourly. So what's the spread on this? Like, what do you do if you're in your trade here? Oh, it's not that much. It's so close. I guess because we're so zoomed in. That covers that spread. You need to gain the trend, though. It's a much better entry than that 5 minute. Surprised you target this hourly, but like, we're so zoomed in that that's a pretty okay spread. 5%. Yeah, it's pretty decent. Pretty decent entry. Really gonna go for this trend here? But you do need to regain this. You do need to regain this stuff up here. Glad the 5 minute is just like not a factor there. So maybe 15-minute trend. Wow. I'm actually a little surprised in that, but it's okay. I mean, it's 13%. That's nothing. It's not nothing, but like 1, 2, 3, 4 levels down, 13%. I guess it's a bit of a better trade if you go for this hourly again, but I'm surprised it hit. I thought it was just going to ladder that part of the move. Oh, now you should be cautious about it breaking down. I don't think it's a bad entry. Like, this stuff here, I don't think it's necessarily a bad entry. It looks a little bit bad because we're so zoomed in, but it's not terrible. Like, it'll try to gain its move, hopefully. Hopefully it doesn't just backtest trend and die. No, that's not exactly what you want to see. That's that 15-minute level that it needed to kind of hold. It's not exactly what you want to see. There's that hourly right here, right? Like, that's that hourly, which now we can move to right here because this is more of like the polarized point of the trade. You definitely want to get back over this. It looks like it's so much, but it's not. 12%. Oops. It's just because we're zoomed in so far. It just looks like it's this ridiculous move. I guess you would take re-entry right here now. Like, literally right here. That'll stonewall it, right? And that's it. It's gone. Entry's gone. If this thing is moving up, that was it. But you do need to get back over this hourly. Like, no question about it. Like, you need to get above this. No question in my mind about it. Is there any major trends? No. You can just delete this trend actually now, too. See? Trend. Never good entry. Sucker's entry. Is it possible to create a range trend without hitting a float? You can create trends anywhere. It's just what the trend represents will tell you more about the trade than anything. Not good. You really need to gain this stuff pretty quickly here before you start creating time frames under that hourly. You really don't want to be like creating a 5-minute, like what you don't want to do here is create this and be under this hourly while you created this. Like if you float around here blue, you don't like, that's no, you don't want to be floating around here while creating a blue right here. That's really bad for obvious reasons. You don't even need to talk about it. It's like you're under the hourly already and you're creating hold levels under it. Like that's not good at all. And then obviously now you're looking at this 5-minute level because that's, you know, kind of what you tried to create here. And I believe you tried to create a 15-minute as well. You did. So you've got this here that you really need to get above as well, because this is a 15-minute re-entry after gaining, you know, you've gained that. Well, you haven't technically gained it, but if this holds you down, that's another spot to be like pretty worried about. This 15-minute you don't need anymore. This 5-minute you now don't need. This was re-entry, so that's no longer needed. So you need to get back over this hourly and you can't stop here. So this is going to inverse that 15, but you got to break above it. I mean, at least you're above the entry. I think entry was in and around here, 40 or 50 or something like that. Be pretty close to break even if you did take that higher entry. So it'd be a little bit of a concern here, but not too bad. So you did hit this and gain it. You need to move it over this stuff right now. Otherwise, it might be like time to get out of a trade if you were in one. You really need to hold a higher range here. Like you got to get over this stuff. You got to get over this stuff. Not sure about the replays. Too much piracy at the moment to leave replays up. They'll be back, but just not sure when. I'll keep people updated week by week on that. Come on, Bitcoin. Push it up. That's not looking good. You really need to get over this. There you go. Now you don't want to reject this 5 and then fall under this, right? Like you kind of want to create like a range between these two. There's that 5. It's going to hit it, stop it a little bit. So that's that 5. Good. Push that 5. Don't pull back now. Backside 1 minute with the 5, comboing it. Right? 5 minute, 1 minute. It's looking good. So is this a scalp or what is this, right? Like that's what you got to ask yourself. What is this? Is this a scalp? Is it breaking its move? 20%, 35%? Is it a scalp? This holding it back? Was that the exit? You know, you've already tested. So if you're not out yet, you might as well stay until your trigger. So you either exited here if you caught bottom top, if this is the top indeed. Now that's the question. If this is the top, right? I think you're going higher here, but we're gonna see. But you're definitely not exiting now. I mean, you would have already missed it. If you did get in here, that's missed. But it's not bad. Ladder, ladder, ladder. Does it break the move, go for the 4? So do you target the 4? Does this become a 90% trade? No. 4 is right here. 60%. Break over this origin, go test up in here. It could be a 1% trade. I'm in the trade. My entry's a little high, but I'm in the trade. Again, my entry's a little high, but I'm in the trade. I just can't do both screens at once, so I have to move one off. I got in a little high. I got in around the blue line, I believe it is. Well, I had to price adjust a bit yet. So no, I'm in from about this right here. So not crazy, but not terrible. I think I could have got a better entry. I'm surprised it went after trend, to be honest, but that's fine. You can go after trend. Probably going to ladder this part of the move too. So I'm assuming it's going to, just like it laddered the bottom side, going to attempt to ladder this top side here. Assume it's going to kind of go up and ladder in and around here somewhere. Like something like this. That's what I'm thinking, but you know, I'm not sure. Not 100% sure anyways. Hits the 3, hits this 3. So if it's breaking 3s now, it's got to hold above this if it's breaking this 3. Like if it's testing this 3, it's got to hold above this. I would probably get out if we lost this. If you go below this, I don't know. I guess you can use this, but I don't know. I think this is kind of just like the point where you just leave. Like if you lose this 5 here. Like you pretty much have to like move up now. Yeah, you pretty much have to move up at this point or I'd get out. This could be like final exits for people, or this could be the hold of the move. But this is like inner polarity. This is like 1 minute polarity, this orange line right here. Hit the 3, you need to hold the 5. That whole +1 stuff. It looks like it's kind of holding its move. It's not looking too good for Bitcoin. Oh, good. Do a little push up here. Now it's trying to hold over the 3. So you can see it's breaking its move. Was this a 3? What was this that I marked? Oh, that's that backside 1 minute. Okay, that's fine. Still rejecting this 3 again. That's not good. Guess I can hold over top of this. Holding this 3 minute is not exactly ideal. But still in its move though. Like it's still in its move. What about a 15? Is it doing anything on the 15 yet? There's that. 15 right there. So now you're here, right? Hold this, lose that. Oopsies. Yeah. Not looking good. Hold this, lose that. Looks like it's about to dump. If it doesn't bounce off this, I think it's gonna dump. I mean, if it holds this one, great, but Jesus, I can't even target the 1 minute. That's not good. Looks like people are trying to exit this trade. Sure doesn't look good, I can tell you that. Yeah, this doesn't look that good. If it bounces off this, I would probably just exit out. Neutral. Kind of at a point now where you have to decide if you want to take exit here because this looks like failure. Like it can't even target its 1 minute level. That's pretty bad. This thing looks like it's about to fall off a cliff. I mean, if it continues to hold this 1 minute level, great. Like, that's a really good sign, but... Jesus, like, it can't even target a level. It can't even target to try to gain the 3. Yikes. I mean, it could blast straight up here, but I don't know. It's becoming a risky trade. That's what I'm gonna say. Still holding this like a champion. Yeah, no, I don't like this trade. I just took my limit exit. Oh, perfect timing too. Jesus. I just took limit exit here. I don't like that. If it holds and moves up, great, but the risk is starting to become way too high at this point. Talked about a 15-minute origin to create his polarity. Yeah, I got out with like plus $50. Plus 73 to be exact. I don't like the trade. If it moves up, it moves up, but this is like just, I don't know. I just really don't like that. I don't like that setup. It just feels like it's about to dump and I don't want to take that kind of risk for such a small profit. That's the point of this trade, is like the profit doesn't look that great for the amount of risk right now. Especially since you don't really have any like straight clear defined polarity here. I don't really like it as much. Oh, it looks like I exited a bit too early. That's okay. I'm happy with my choice. Next trade. You talked about a 15-minute origin to create his polarity that can hold the move after gaining the 4 hours. Has that origin been created? Yes, I believe so. It has been. Damn, I definitely exited too early. Oh, yeah, I exited, definitely exited too early. It's okay. I exited like right here. Right here. Ah, that's okay. If yes, wouldn't have to hard close a 15-minute and create it as an origin. No, it's an origin right now. It's already tested twice. I would suggest watching the lesson on origins. This is a very clear origin right here. You can see where this move goes. Yeah, this thing's way too close to breaking down, I think, to take that trade. I think if my entry was better, I could have stayed, but with a subpar entry there, when it goes down that much, like you could be retesting in the negative, have to mark it out if it dumps, and then you could be like in a negative 25% scenario. Like, it's already 13%. If you drop this level, you're potentially threatening to break straight through trend, -5, and then a market out is another 5. So you're at -10 if this level doesn't hold. It's an automatic -10. Like if I was in from the lower level, I could have stomached that because it's like a simple clear hold level and it's holding. But at the same time, if it loses this, it's a lot different marketing out even than being -10% facing a dump. So, oh well. It's the importance of entries. But yeah, at least capital protected small profit. Like a 7% profit. No big deal. Nothing gained, nothing lost. Damn. This would have been my target, this 4 hour. Maybe a bit above that. Maybe I would have went to 80%. Damn, that's too bad. It's too bad I got out there. I feel like I have no control over the trade. Yeah, I mean, it's about deferring risk on 100x, right? It's not so much important to it's not so important to you know, lock up 1,000,000% all the time. Just defer risk. That's more important. Is just to straight up defer risk when you're doing 100x. Something looks like it's not going in your favor, you just limit out before it goes really against you, because that's what rolls bank accounts, is when you have to take those ridiculously crazy exits. So 7%. Why I left with net 7. It was like 9%. Dragging this right. Whatever. Magnitude will scream up. It doesn't matter. Alternatively, right now it could have been 45. Yeah, it's a pretty big difference. But again, 100x isn't about holding trades to make big gains. It's about, you know, perfect entries. I think that's so great about perfect entries being a stop loss and profits, doing it lately, and stress is taken away. Yeah, exactly. So there's our first target hit. That would have been like target 1, but I think you would go higher here, right? Because you're going to see if you can test up. Maybe you would just go like right here. But that's first target hit, so that would have been pretty perfect. That's that like 45, 50-ish%. There it is. That's like more like what it is right there. It's like 45% or something. Now, if this holds, likely break this. Gain your 4-hour level off this 15-minute. So your 4-hour would have been first target, obviously, because that's going to pull back to, I don't know if I would be holding longer here. I think I would limit exit out here somewhere close to the very top right now. Like if I was looking at this trade, I would probably limit out pretty close if I was still in it. Like I probably would have just got limit there right on that little push up. I would have probably had like a limit set like literally at the current price. There you go. Would have been out. Perfect. Would have been out. Because now I would look to hold, see if this can hold, and if I wanted re-entry, I'd see if this holds, re-enter here. Because if this holds, you gain the 4-hour, and then you're just not going to worry about these levels. Hopefully this session has been helpful for people. I'm going to leave chat open for a few minutes so we can tackle some questions if we have them. But hopefully this session has been important, just walking through the move and talking about it. Yeah, see, the pullback is going to happen. You got to hold this 15. If you can pull, like you maybe can go down to here to get re-entry at this point. You can go down to like right here. Get re-entry, like spike something down lower and just go back over top, create some kind of interior trend. Yeah, I don't know. I just panic when I'm not in perfect entry and I feel like I have to just limit breakout. Yep. Well, I mean, yeah. Yeah. Not much you can do about it. Looks like this might just gain the 4 hours straight up. I don't know what we're going to see soon here, though. Yeah, I'm getting another drink. I'm going to leave chat open for a few minutes here. I'll be back. Aha, it did move up a little bit. It did spike up and get that exit. Nice. Now let's see if we can hold that polarity. 100x trading isn't about getting huge profits. It's about getting perfect entry. So that should be priority. Manage risk when entry isn't perfect. Well, yeah, I mean, look at how I handled my trade, right? Like, who cares if it moves up? This is how people lose bank accounts and how they work so hard and wash profits. Like there's a lot of people who have this problem where they constantly wash profits. Like if you're trying to hold a trade, you can look back at this trade. The trade entry was great. In hindsight, it was a great entry. Like the hourly level here in hindsight, like move all this shit. In hindsight, this is a great entry compared to where the price went, but this is a great entry compared to where price went. But when you have a trade that's sitting there at a 1 minute level after, you know, rejecting everything else and it looks like it's about to ladder down and it's sitting here at a 1 minute level, like, you know how quick you're going to be in negative profits? So like when the scenario where this holds, great, you make 50%, right? How often are you going to hold if it goes all the way up here? How often are you holding to that 1 in 20 times? You know how easy it is for it to all of a sudden like drop this level, like just go like this and all of a sudden be here fighting to see if you can even get back above trend, and then maybe you're lucky if you limit exit here, if you're even lucky, because this thing drops the trade and just instantly moves down. Now all of a sudden you have to market exit out at negative 12-13%. Like that kills bank accounts. It's not that bad, but that's the best case scenario. If you drop this level, you'd be down here, 20-30%. Like that's what kills bank accounts. Who cares if it moves up like onto the next trade? The next trade happened like 10 minutes later. It was the 4-hour level. Like could you not have just gotten short on this 4-hour level? Yeah, see, look, exactly. It just exactly went exactly what we said. It was gonna either target while it's going a little deeper than this. Look at another shitty entry. You should have went right here. Even better, you should have went right. No, you kind of got right there. Like you should have went right here. This was polarity in the move. Go to polarity in the move. Like, see, exactly. This is exactly what's gonna happen. It's gonna hit this 4 and it's gonna pull back to see if it can deep dive this to hold something in here to move back above, just like it did down here. It's 1-to-1, the exact same thing. Look, here's that thing right here. It breaks the 4, right? It tries to gain this polarity here, right? Like it breaks the 4, it goes to this polarity, it goes way above it, and then comes back to the 4, right? Like that's the same thing here. It's going to go way below it just to come back to the 4, right? See? Literally happening right now. Hit the 4, it's going to go way below this to come back to see if it can hold in polarity here, and then use this as like perfect re-entry for the future, like right here. Oh, now it's going to gain here, do this little dance. Like that wasn't, the next perfect trade just happened anyway, so who cares? Like this thing is playing out 1-to-1. Like if there was a thing like rate my TA, this would be like 100 out of 100 every single time. I've talked about this trade from 2 hours prior. I've painted this thing out. Like, you know what I mean? That's not an ego push either, by the way. That's just to show like how easy it can be to get in and out of these trades. Like go back to 2 hours ago. I mapped this thing out. Like where was I wrong? Like this thing's literally mapped out to perfection. It's like, okay, fine, you didn't get the perfect entry here and there, but that's not about that. It's about like there's no benefit in holding losing trades. If it looks like it's not going in your favor, just get out while you still can. There's so many trades that exist all the time that it's like chart raiders. The idea of taking 20 trades in 10, the idea of taking 10 trades, I was going to say 20 trades in 2 hours, but that doesn't make sense. The idea of taking 10 trades in an hour is completely doable. Completely doable. You just have to know how to see it. You got re-entry there. Nice, Jude. But do you see what I mean about how easy it is to see like what the events are coming are going to be if you just understand that logic flow better? And that's just like right here. If you drop this trade, that's where you lose bankrolls, is by holding on to these trades. If you didn't get perfect entry, if you got perfect entry, sure, see if you can hold this and then you get the best of it. But that's the benefit of getting, you know, the greediest entry, is that it allows you to hold through stuff like this. As to where a level drop means negative profits. Like it's not worth holding there. Just get out. Next trade. Who cares? Not today. No. Next weekend. Yes. I have a meeting in like 13 minutes. Maybe we could come back tomorrow morning and do more examples. We'll come back tomorrow morning and do another example. How about that? Choose 8 a.m. not 7 a.m. I'm gonna take a little hour to myself. We'll do morning coffee and charting together. Maybe we'll even do some trading tomorrow. We'll do an extra session. We'll be sick. Thank you. Everybody good with that? Oh. Okay, done. Let me put it in the calendar so for people who aren't here, just to make it official. I don't even remember if I updated the calendar for this month. I think I did, or did I not? Am I just like an absolute pleb and forgot? Okay, live mentorship. Start date tomorrow, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Well, whatever. We'll just whatever. Just put a time. Doesn't matter what time we go to. Okay, there we go. It's set. Tomorrow we'll come back. We'll do trading. We'll do more +1 examples. And maybe we'll even just like trade together. Or I'll trade and I'll talk about my trade through the trades. Go hard Saturdays? Yeah, Saturdays are good. I love mentorship. I always just get to go loose and talk about things I never talk about in here. So we'll do more +1 and offsetting examples tomorrow morning. We'll do trading and we'll start at 8 a.m. So an hour later, because it's just more of an easy, stress-free kind of session. So I will say right now, like it's really not great that you're losing this, but I guess if you continue to ladder in, realize it's a 15-minute time frame, so it can kind of have this, you know, a little bit of time spent underneath it, as long as it does eventually get back over it and, you know, supports this as the future of the move. Because again, you could simply be like this, like all day long, and then that moment you get over this, you know, and over that 4, this obviously becomes polarity. Like the more it's hit, the more polarized it is in the future, right? Like imagine if you did this all day long. Like it's going to be like the super buy when you get over top of it. Like if you get over top of it and you gain that 4, Like this is like long this every single time, right? So it's not so bad if you also stay down here. Don't immediately think like, oh, this thing's gone because it's, you know, broke one trend. Like this could sit here all day, right? Like, God, look at this one. Just 3 tests on an origin is nothing, right? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then finally, and that's after it had its first 3 tests, and then it went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 15-minute candles. Like, what are we on right now? Not that I would compare one like 8 to 8, but just, you know, to give some, you know, clarity to this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Like it could just sit here all day. Don't fall in love with a perma long here either. That's really important to realize. A perma long is not smart here. Trading more or using that time to watch chart raiders? Both, Kens. If you had to choose, watching chart raiders is really good, man. But probably I would recommend going through the mentorship stuff as hard as you can, the replays, and then probably trading. I don't know. I'd mix it up. Chart raiders is too good. So much knowledge still amazes me after all this time with the level of knowledge on the charts. I know, isn't it crazy, Fredley? You've been here for a long time. You've seen it. It's like every week there's something. Well, there's still so much I have to teach. So, you know, we just get into deeper and deeper information every single time. So, okay, everybody, that's it for me. I got to go. My meeting's starting in like 9 minutes and a half.